This can be such a fun problem, but it could also be so frustrating if you keep getting an answer that everyone else is saying is wrong. Or maybe there's a lot of people with the same answer as you, even though the answer is wrong. So let me assure you of two things. Number one, there is absolutely only one right answer to this question. It's not sometimes 1 and sometimes 16. It's absolutely always 16. But if you are thinking and certain that it's 1, it's not your fault entirely. I believe that when you were in 5th grade, you probably learned, please excuse my dear Aunt Sally, or PEMDAS, to remember the order of operations. And that order of operations, here's the problem with PEMDAS, or please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. The dear and the my are interchangeable. The Sally and the aunt are interchangeable, or the MD, interchangeable. S and A, interchangeable. Here's what I mean by that. When we get to the multiply and divide, the my dear, the MD, what the rule actually says to do, the property for the order of operations actually says to do whichever one comes first, left to right. Same thing with adding and subtracting. It's the A doesn't always come before the S. It's whichever of the two comes first when we read left to right. So when we see this problem, 8 divided by 2 times the quantity of 2 plus 2, nearly everyone gets this first part. Oh, the parentheses has to be first. That adding 2 plus 2 jumps in front of everyone else, and you do that 2 plus 2 is 4 before you do anything else because it's got that parenthesis, right? Nearly everyone tends to get that. But then when we go to the divided by 2 and times 4, you have to do the multiply or divide left to right, and you see that that dividing comes first. So we've got to do the 8 divided by 2 is 4 before we do the times 4. So there you have it. The answer is 16. Now, if you were getting a 1, I'm willing to bet that what you did was 8 divided by 2 times 4, but then you did that 2 times 4 to get the 8, and then you got a 1. But that is never correct. And if you're going to say, oh, but back in the 1950s when I learned math, that's how we did it. Let me tell you, I have some math books here in my office from as early as the mid-1800s, and they still did this problem in this same way, that the multiplying and dividing are interchangeable, whichever one comes first. Could I show you one more reason why? If you think about 8 divided by 2, it's the same as 8 over 2, the fraction. So if we had 8 divided by 2 times the quantity of 2 plus 2, if we rewrote that as a fraction, 8 over 2, which it's equivalent, then it becomes a little more obvious that we would do that dividing first. But either way, you would always get 16. Well, if you're doing the problem correctly, you will always get 16. I hope that this short video makes sense to you and is helpful to you in some way.